North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s. Temperatures only drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. A mostly sunny sky for your Thursday afternoon. Maybe a slight increase in cloud cover through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any rain. That increase in cloud cover is going to come with a cold front that's going to move through the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Wharton Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing, helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're off. We're running another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. in what should be another fantastic show for everybody. 256-576-4977. That is how you get a hold of us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline throughout the show this morning. And it is a Wednesday. That means we start our show just like we do each and every Wednesday with our fifth grader prognosticator. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, the one, the only, Grady, the Greek, with us on a Wednesday. Morning, bud.
Morning.
Morning, Grady.
Morning.
All right. It's a SEC opener for Alabama. They're at home with Vanderbilt this weekend. What does Grady, the Greek, think of this one?
First, good job, Penn State.
Okay, that's where we start. Yes, Penn State beat Auburn.
Yes. Bama played good last week.
How well did they play last week? Well, your thoughts, though, on the win against Louisiana Monroe?
Good. Really good.
Okay, what about this week versus Vanderbilt?
48-10, Bama.
Nice. And who's your MVP this week, Grady?
Holden.
Okay, so Trayshawn Holden's going to be the MVP?
Yes, sir.
Any other picks? Because Auburn is opening SEC play against Missouri without their quarterback.
I'm picking the Tennessee game.
Oh, Tennessee, Florida. Here we go.
All right, in Neyland Stadium.
Drum roll, please.
Top 25 teams. What do you got?
Tennessee 32 and Florida 21.
32-21. So you got the Vols covering right now. I think it was 9.5 yesterday. So you like Tennessee. Is there an MVP for you in that game, or just you picking the score?
Just picking the score.
Gotcha.
All right, so 2 games this week. The first time, I believe this is the first time this season, 2 games.
And Grady, by the way, man, your brand is expanding. I was stopped in the press box in Tuscaloosa, and somebody asked me about you. Said we're looking forward to Grady on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
All right, but who are we going to give that weekly shout-out to this week?
My mom.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
There we go. The first shout out to mom this week.
So how did flag football go last week, Grady? Oh,
Maybe. We're a good team. We were both tied for first, but I got a touchdown.
oh, you
Well,
just
there we
scored a
go.
touchdown.
Okay.
So I think 5-1 now, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, better luck this week. When do we play this week?
Thursday.
All right. So tomorrow night. Well, good luck tomorrow night. And as always, Grady, thanks for joining us like you do each and every Wednesday. We appreciate it, buddy.
See ya.
Have a good day at school. All right, Grady the Greek giving us a call like he does each and every Wednesday on his way to school. Our fifth grader prognosticator going not one but two games this week. Alabama beating Vandy, and Tennessee, I looked this morning, was 10.5 over Florida.
So it's grown to 10.5, and
Yeah.
Grady still has them by half a point. He's
Yep.
still taking them to he's laying the points down.
All right, so you did kind of allude to it, and so there's a myriad of things here to unpack with TJ Finley.
Right.
Everybody
happened last night. It was
Everybody
announced,
watched the Penn State game,
Right.
And they saw him come out in the second half, and he did not return.
Right.
A lot of people thought it was performance based.
Yeah.
After the game, Brian Harsin was specifically asked about TJ Finley if he came out because he was hurt. Brian Harsin said no, that is not why he was replaced in the game against Penn State. It was revealed last night. Well, then midway through yesterday afternoon, TJ Finley goes on social media and posts a tweet. He retweets a tweet from College Football Film Room that says Auburn quarterbacks were pressured on 61.8% of their dropbacks versus Penn State, the fourth highest pressure rate allowed by an SEC team over the last 5 seasons. So he retweets that on Twitter yesterday, and then about 2 hours later, it's revealed that TJ Finley is hurt and will not play because of a shoulder injury in the game against Missouri.
Yeah, and it was basically tweeted out by Justin Hokanson that he had heard strong rumor that Finley was going to be out for a couple of weeks, but had not been able to substantiate it until Thomas Verdi of AL.com put it out first. And then Justin Hokanson comes out and said, yes, it's an AC joint, it's a sprained shoulder, and so he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He reported that Robbie Ashford would start the game against the Missouri Tigers, and that he and the Dirt Neck refugee, Zach Calzada, will compete for the starting job in practice, but that he was extremely confident that Robbie Ashford would play and start and receive the majority of the playing time. Now, if they struggle, certainly I would think we would see Calzada. Nothing would be off the table. But I think that's now why Brian Harsin had been cryptic in the media saying that, nothing was off the table, that Calzada might get a shot. So my prediction is he will play Saturday because Ashford may struggle with this deal, but it's going to have to be a ground-oriented attack. And maybe Auburn can push Missouri around because Missouri, since Eli Drinkwitz has been there, defense has been a definite issue. It's basically been Big 12-esque.
Well, so I got to look and I thought, okay, this Auburn offense has not electrified a lot of people in the SEC.
No.
So I got to look in and okay, so what do their stats look like compared to everybody else in the league right now going into this Missouri game? Auburn is 11th in the conference in points per game at 26 points per game so far.
Right.
Do you know who is worse than Auburn in the league right now at points per game? Florida, South Carolina, and at the very bottom of the SEC is Texas A&M, averaging just 20 points per game.
Well, that's not surprising with A&M. Think about it. I mean, they're 1-1 in their last two, and they scored 17 points 17 and then 14.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Appalachian got
Dominated
17
them.
and then and held A&M to 14, and only one offensive touchdown because one of those was a kickoff return.
So their total yards, Auburn's total yards, I thought, okay, well, maybe they're struggling to move the ball. They're 8th in the league right now in total yards of offense through their first
They're
three
having a lot of
games.
trouble in the red zone, man.
Right.
They're not punching the ball in. And then here's something else Auburn is near the bottom of the league in. They've got 9 turnovers on offense.
Yes.
Their plus-minus is terrible. They have not forced a turnover, and they have 9 turnovers in 3 games.
You know how many yards? Okay, so Auburn is 8th. Missouri comes into the Jordan-Hare Stadium 9th in total yards. Behind them is Mississippi State, Kentucky, who is off to a great start,
but playing good defense.
Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Texas A&M, by the way, has not even reached 1,000 yards of total offense in their first 3 games.
But if you don't change your playbook since 1998, isn't that part of the reason?
It is. We talk about, we say how awful this Auburn offense has looked, and it's not looked great. It did not look good, really great against Penn State, especially in the red zone. But there are other SEC teams right now that are looking, at least on paper, by stat numbers,
but I'll give
not very good.
ATM credit for this. At least they made the quarterback change. I mean, and I think honestly, it's going to be Max until he gets hurt. If he stays healthy, I think it'll be Max the rest of the season because Haynes King has just not been impressive either year, and he has been injury prone. Now he did throw for 300 yards against Stephen F. Austin, but I mean, who cares? That was 31-0. That's Stephen F. Austin's entire roster, probably makes maybe 50,000 in NIL.
That's what one backup second lineman
that's
makes.
That's what one of the backup offensive tackles makes at Texas A&M. I mean, the starters make 3 digits.
Yeah.
So I mean, they in this NIL era. So, but still, I mean, again, I just think overall that I'll just say this, and you're basically hinting at it. You probably need to take the under in the Missouri Auburn game.
Probably. Let me see what it is. Let me just see what it is right now, just so that everybody would know. It looks like it's 51.5.
Yeah. So that I wouldn't be shocked if they combine for less than 50 points.
I don't think we'll see a 3-2 game, but
we'll
see a little bit more.
like a 24-17 type game.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's one common denominator in all this. South Carolina is at the very bottom of a lot of these categories. And I say that because we're going to talk a little South Carolina here in a minute. But Richard is with us on the phone lines this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Hey, man.
Morning, guys. I know you guys don't set betting lines, and I'm not a bettor, but how can Texas A&M be favored over Arkansas?
I'm a little surprised because I think yesterday was, 2.5?
According now, I'm looking at it, and it says 1.5.
So it's down to 1.5.
Down to 1.5.
So it's getting close to a pick 'em.
I did hear Arkansas has the worst pass defense in D1, football.
They do. They've been susceptible to the pass so far. Yes.
And it's in. I don't know if it's a split, 50-50, or if it's a Texas A&M home game. I mean, that would have, a little effect there. But like I said, I just see Texas A&M's got a good defense, but I just see Arkansas scoring points, and it's just like you were saying. A&M can't score.
Right.
Yeah, they had guys suspended last week. Now they'll probably get, I would think Evan Stewart back, and who's probably their lead receiver. He and Ananias Smith, and they'll probably, I would think, they're going to need all hands on deck to beat Arkansas. I still like the Hogs in the matchup just simply because ATM has not been good offensively.
Defensively, Arkansas has been giving up over 420 yards a game defensively, but they lead the league in sacks with 17.
They've been Disruptive, but they also, if you remember, they gave up 30 to South Carolina. They won it comfortably, but by 2 touchdowns, but they did give up a lot of yards to the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I just see Arkansas scoring some points, and I don't know if A&M can keep up with them.
Well, I would agree with you. If A&M hasn't shored up their run defense, and they didn't look like it against Appalachian, they're going to have some trouble because Arkansas is not going to be fancy. They're going to bloody your nose. You have to be able to be physical and stop the run. Alabama's going to have to do that because it's going to be a tough environment in Fayetteville in a couple of weeks. But I mean, they're and you got the KJ Jefferson, who's a dual threat, who's been throwing the ball well. I mean, I think this Arkansas receiver core is getting more comfortable. So I do like the Hogs in the matchup, just simply because we haven't seen enough production out of this Texas A&M offense yet.
Defensively, Texas A&M has only been giving up 8.7 points per game.
They actually haven't played bad on defense, even though in some ways, if you watch the Appalachian game, especially the second half, they couldn't get off the field. Now it was tough for Appalachian to finish drives, but still they got controlled in the trenches.
One thing is maybe Dan Mullen was a bigger clown as people think, playing Emory Jones at quarterback now.
Oh, yeah, considering what he's doing at Arizona State, I guess.
And then Anthony Richardson struggling
at
Florida as well.
I mean, even though I will say Arizona State did lose to Eastern Michigan and get Herm fired, but he was already on borrowed time. But I had heard he's been playing pretty well. But, yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson, we kind of saw this Richard, but everybody just basically wrote it off because of he was inexperienced. But he did this against Georgia last year, throwing it to the other team, and Georgia just buried Florida and Jacksonville. And so that's why I don't like Florida's chances against Tennessee. If he can't take care of the ball and can't be efficient and give them some balance, Tennessee will probably slow down Florida's running game enough to win this game. And Tennessee, as you know, has been scoring points in bunches.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think Tennessee's going to probably, put the pedal to the metal and get up on them. And then, and Richardson doesn't even know what color what color the Gators are. I guess he sees orange, he'll be throwing it to the Vols. The way he's been, passing lately.
And how many, Drew, is it, three? Is this, Anthony Richardson's had now, just 3 career starts or 4 career starts? Is that right?
I think his third was against Kentucky, so I believe he's had now 4.
Yeah.
This will be number 5.
Yeah.
When he was coming in as a backup, everybody thought he was great, but when you put him in as a starter, he hasn't done much.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a really good runner, but he's had a ton of turnovers. He had 2 more, including a horrendous interception in the red zone against the USF, and Florida was lucky to escape, Richard, no question about it. And that's why I've been disappointed as well. I thought he performed pretty well against Utah, and I thought, well, if he can protect the ball, and I think Florida's looked improved on the O-line. They've been able to run the football, and they look like they have a pretty deep running back room. But the issue has been finishing drives in the red zone, and again, as you said, all the interceptions and even a fumble or 2 by Richardson, the quarterback position, has just not been good enough. And it'll be interesting when Jack Miller, the transfer from Ohio State, when he's healthy, if Napier gives him a shot.
Yeah, it will be. So, actually, did you see where Coach Oates and the staff were up in Huntsville yesterday?
Yeah, I heard they were going to be visiting RJ. We actually had a chance to speak with him, and we'll put that up on SoundCloud. They had a 256-205 press conference earlier this week. It's an event that's going to be played in January over a 2-week period. It's a showcase. It's games that are being played both in Birmingham and in the Madison County, Huntsville area. With teams, they're doing a little head-to-head to see who wins, the 256 or the 205. And Huntsville High will actually be traveling to Pinson Valley, and Grissom, I believe, will take on Oak Mountain. So those are going to be just a couple of the matchups. James Clemens is also involved, Florence, Gadsden City. So that's some of the North Alabama teams that are involved in that 256, 205.
Whose idea was that? That's like a great idea, whoever came up with it.
Knight Eady is running it. It was their idea,
okay.
And so they're putting it on. They're gonna try to make it an annual event. It's designed as a high school version of the Big Ten ACC Challenge, where you see all these games played in different campus locations, but they wanted them played on the campuses of the high schools, not like a neutral site where you play everything. So that's what they're doing. Knight Eady is putting this on.
Yeah, you ought to get Chris on there because I know him. On there when you get closer to basketball season to talk about it.
Chris Nix. Yep.
Yeah.
He and his group are putting this on. So Tiantre Spence was over there. He's doing a great job for them, and It's going to be some interesting matchups. I knew Huntsville was playing Pennsylvania. I didn't know this is what was being put together, but yeah, they're doing it. And I think Gadsden City's playing Shades Valley. There's some good matchups that are being played in this thing, and I think Florence is taking on Thompson.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you guys.
All right, thanks, Richard.
And then for Richard, real quick, before I know we're going to have to take a break here in a quick minute, but just some basketball news too, because I know he's a big Alabama basketball fan. It looks like David Cosby is going to commit by the end of this month. I think around September the 24th. He is going to announce his commitment. He's a 4-star guard from Word of God Academy in Raleigh, North Carolina. He officially visited Alabama recently, and he cut his list to 4 yesterday. It was 3 ACC schools in Alabama. It was Wake Forest, who I think has been – Alabama and Wake have been kind of considered the leaders, and then Virginia and NC State. And the inside word seems to be Alabama's very confident that Davin Cosby is going to end up in Tuscaloosa. So he would be the third piece. You heard him mention R.J. Johnson, Nate Oates being in Huntsville to go by and see R.J. And then also Sam Walters, the stretch 4 forward out of the state of Florida. So that would give Alabama 3 commitments, and Cosby is a 4-star guy, a big guard that they think can play both guard positions, both the 1 and the 2. So he would be a nice piece for Alabama.
All right, let's get that break in. When we come back, we're going to talk some high school football. Our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week winner, Randolph.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hemsey's running a medical call westbound 565 at Wall Triana. That may complicate traffic flow through the area just a bit. Got a wreck in Hartselle 36 westbound at Allen Road that should be clearing. Had one at County Line and Browns Ferry in Madison that should be wrapping up. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Egg in the North Parkway, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Something you probably do know. Progressive can not only offer you a great price when you bundle home and auto, they offer you round-the-clock protection. Something you probably don't know, the average garage door is made up of 1.3 millimeter aluminum panels. Something you probably do know, your neighbor likes to tinker with his dirt bike. Something you probably don't know, a runaway dirt bike can take out your garage door and a good portion of your car bumper. Bundle your home and auto with Progressive and get more than a great price. Get round-the-clock protection. Something you know for the things you don't know. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get in here! I got one thing to say.
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
It is indeed time for our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation. And for that, we go out to a team that has been very familiar to some of our listeners here on the airways of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. They got off to a great start, have gotten off to a fine and fantastic start, notching a win last week on the road against a very stubborn Westminster Christian Academy squad. And big region win. That's where the hay is made, is in those region games, and they got that region win last Friday night, Drew, and the Randolph Raiders as our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, we had three big games around our community, no doubt. Unbeaten West Morgan, they took on unbeaten Rogers. We had Decatur, our reigning ESPN 97.7 The Zone Team of the Week, or one of our two reigning ones, and also the Hazel Green Trojans. We had those. There was our last two ESPN Bryant Bank 97.7 The Zone Teams of the Week, and they took on each other. And that was, of course, a Hazel Green team that was on a 3-game winning streak, undefeated, Jerry Adcock and Decatur. And then we thought this was a huge focus game for our community, and of course we are honored to bring you Randolph Raider football on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. The unbeaten Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats hosted the Randolph Raiders on homecoming. Randolph coming in with a 3-game winning streak on a 3-game homestand at Sports Med Field. They went on the road for the second time and couldn't have performed any better. Got down early 7-0 with Brandon Mush making a huge 77-yard touchdown run. But the next 47 points scored by the Raiders on the road. Very difficult environment, but they played at a very, very high level, and they are going to be the Bryant Bank 97.7 The Zone Team of the Week and receive $500 from our great friends at Bryant Bank. And we're going to have a presentation out there on Thursday. And now we're going to be honored to be joined on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline by their third-year head coach, and that's David Lloyd. And, Coach, once again, congratulations to your squad. Thank you for joining us this morning.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all.
Yeah, Coach, and First of all, I mean, let's talk about the run this team has been on. 4 straight wins going into the bye week. That has got to be a fantastic feeling.
It is, man. You always want to be playing your football at the right time. And, we've been fortunate enough to put together a couple of good weeks and play pretty well on both sides of the ball. And looking forward to the bye week. Kind of rest up, heal up a little bit. Finish out play next week, starting that back up, and we're just excited about it, looking forward to it.
And, Coach, you and your staff, you did such a great job. Coach Jeremy Matthews had a great defensive plan against Westminster, a very talented team with Henry Clunch and Brandon Mush, Owen Lockett, a lot of weapons there for a young squad with a young offensive line. But I thought Coach Matthews had the defense dialed in, and I know you guys even have got banged up defensively a little bit in the game, but I thought the depth showed, and you guys played at a very high level on that side of the ball on Friday night.
Yeah, those guys had a really good plan on the defensive side of the ball. Coach Matthews, Coach Smith with our defensive backs, our pass game plan, and then Coach Salsa and Coach Marsh with our outside backers and our defensive line. Just getting those guys ready, prepared to play. We knew that they had some weapons, pretty good running back, or quarterback as athletic as anybody you'll see in this area. So really good plan there. We did have to reach into our depth a little bit, and the next guy up, and they played really well and did a really good job for us. The guys understand what we want to do. They understand our game plan, and they did a really good job of executing.
Well, Coach, you opened that season with that tough loss against West Morgan, but since then that offense has been putting up points. You've not put up anything less than 50 points except for that second game of the season against Madison Academy. What is dialed in on that offensive side of the ball?
Our guys are just making plays over there. Our job is just to give them the opportunity to execute our offense and try to make a play. And we've got some guys that are playing at a high level right now. Grayson Davenport's had 2 really good weeks back to back. He's really had a good season so far. Andrew Hunter, quarterback's been dialed in. Dick Strong, kind of a do-everything guy for us. With the way he's been able to score on the ground and through the air. And our offensive line has started to play pretty well. We've been getting protected for the majority of the season. We're starting to do a better job of really being able to run the football and get some yards on the ground to kind of run some clock and finish a quarter or finish a drive if we need to.
Well, and, Coach, I will say I got to give a lot of credit to Grayson Davenport. He's up for AL.com Player of the Week, probably statewide. There are just some nights that are special, and you told us that this offense has a lot of weapons, and sometimes it's just a guy's night and he's in the zone. But, I mean, when you catch 15 passes for 313 yards and 4 touchdowns, that's the second most in the history of the AHSAA, we believe. That's a special evening.
Yeah, it is. He was tuned in and did a really good job. I thought Andrew did a great job finding ways to get him the football and put the ball where he needed to. And Grayson did a great job getting open and finishing plays. So we were really excited for the night he had. I think he'd be the first to tell you that he really wasn't counting catches or stats. He was just trying to do what he could to get our team a win in a big reaching game. And that speaks to all of our players. They understand that it may not be their night every night, but when we get something going, we're going to stick with it. They're going to do everything they can to give our team an opportunity to be successful.
Well, Coach, I mean, the good news is you guys do get that bye week this week. The bad news is, can you believe it's the halfway point of the season? We're already there 5 games in.
Man, it's going by fast, and it's too fast. I wish it'd slow down a little bit, but we are where we are, and we're just thankful for the bye week, and looking forward to getting back into the group everything next week and finishing our season.
Yeah, no question, Coach. And Andrew Hunter, I mean, he's, of course, I believe the reigning AL.com Player of the Week. He's been so efficient for you. You had a special quarterback at JB2 and Seth Brown, a little bit different style, very quick, dual threat, outstanding jitterbug type of player. But Andrew's a little taller, good mobility in his own right. He had 71 yards on the ground on Friday night, but also, once again, 22 of 30, 381, 4 touchdowns, only 1 turnover on the season. He's done a great job running your offense, Coach.
He's done a phenomenal job with it, and we trust him a lot. He's done a really good job making some checks at the line of scrimmage to get play or, get us out of a bad one. He's just done a really good job with his control of the offense and understanding what he needs to do and just getting us to the right play at the right time.
He certainly has. And then you talked about Nick. He won a Player of the Week honor earlier in the season. 7 rushes, 120, 4 touchdowns. You talked about him getting going. Even had a punt return called back that would have been a 68-yard touchdown. So really took advantage of his touches. And you were able to get David Clary some time too. That senior has done a nice job behind Nick, giving him breathers. The running game, as you said, starting to hit its stride.
Right, and we had the ability to play a few guys on both sides of the football, but David did a really good job coming in for us, kind of giving Nick a breather where he can kind of catch his breath and get ready. David's done a good job for us over the years, so we trust him to go in there and carry the football and do the things we need to do. Nick's versatility, I think, makes him a weapon anywhere. We played him in the slot, we played him at wide receiver some, we moved him around. So it makes it, I think, difficult to defend there. At times we can have both of those guys. But I just think we've done a really good job offensively spreading the ball around to different guys, and just taking what the defense is going to give us and executing our game plan. And our guys just understand what we want to do. They understand the offense. They just want to be successful.
And then go ahead, Scott.
Well, Coach, then what do you do during this bye week? How do you treat it? What do you do to kind of get better? We've been breaking down on film. I know you're a coach, and I know you want to see continued improvement, but where do you kind of work on during this week?
We want to put the focus on us. We want to go back and look at film and look at some things we haven't done well or some things that we know we can clean up and really focus on that. We give our guys a little bit of time off during the bye week to just kind of rest and cover. But that's the big thing for us. We want to make sure that we correct the things we need to correct. And, the bye week is really kind of about us and our team and cleaning some things up. We've had a few penalties when we didn't need them the last couple of weeks that we really need to take a look at and understand how we can fix those and what we've got to do to kind of erase those. So a lot of individual time with our guys and, watching some film and just kind of scaling back a little bit, making sure we're healthy, we're not beat up, getting guys through this week and getting their focus turned on the next week when we get ready to start back up in region play with Madison County.
Exactly, Coach. And I know you guys are going to have a walkthrough on Thursday. When you're doing that, are you just trying to keep the schedule? You're certainly going to give your team some time off, as you said, but are you trying to keep it as normal as possible through the first 3 or 4 days of the week, even though it's a bye?
We want to keep our routine as close as we can to what we normally do. We would normally have our walkthrough on Thursday. We'll do the same thing on Thursday. And then we'll give our guys off on Friday. So we try to keep the routine the same. We are creatures of habit, so we want to make sure that we can continue doing that and make it as normal as possible for our guys for the week. And, just mentally trying to do the same things you would do to narrow your focus during the game week.
And I wanted to also bring up the defense. Just a unit to me that's played outstanding football, especially after they had a few difficulties against a really good West Morgan team. But I thought, honestly, they played better than the stats indicated. The secondary has been outstanding all year, one of the best in the state. Connor Goodson now has 3 interceptions. He does a lot of things for you back there, Coach, directing traffic, and he's helped a guy like Graham Beatty, a young player who's, I think, leading you guys in tackles at the other safety spot. You guys have been really good on the back end, Coach.
We've done a really good job back there, and, it talks a lot about our players, the commitment they have to be the best they can be each week, and really what Coach Smith has done with those guys during the week, getting them ready for what they're going to see, mentally and physically prepared for the route concepts, that we're going to see week to week, and how we got to get involved in the box, the run fit. Just done a really good job there. Like you said, Connor's been such a really good leader for us back there. Has really helped some of the younger guys back there grow and develop into what we want them to be. But those guys have been locked in week after week, and have done a really good job. I think we gave up 83 passing yards last week to a really talented quarterback with the weapons around him. So we were really, really excited about that part. Defensively, what we were able to do, and just honestly, Friday night, I thought our whole defense played well.
Yeah, I did too. I thought all 3 levels played exceptional football, no doubt about it. And Coach, I know you've got a challenging slate coming up, but I know this squad's got to take it 1 week at a time, but you've put yourself in position to compete for a 4A Region 8 championship.
Right, and I think that's where everybody wants to be. They want to have an opportunity. That's what we've always talked about. We want a chance to be there. Hopefully it goes our way and we can take care of business. But, we're grateful for the opportunity to have a chance to be there, to have a chance to continue to play some of our best football when we need to be playing it. We got a tough region schedule left that we got to contend with. And, hopefully we just stay healthy and we can execute at a high level each week and keep playing our best football.
Well, Coach, your best football right now has gotten you the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week this week. What does that mean for this program?
It's an honor for us to, be picked by people in our community, for what we've been able to do on the football field. So we're really, really excited about that. Looking forward to that presentation on Thursday with you guys and the good people at Bryant Bank. I think they've done a phenomenal job highlighting teams in our area. And there's a lot of good football in North Alabama, and we appreciate you guys. We appreciate Bryant Bank for choosing those guys each and every week. So we're honored to be one of those teams.
Well, Coach, we are honored to be the home of Randolph Raider football this year. Been awesome to see the action up close and watch this team evolve and develop, watch the depth, watch guys take advantage of opportunities and play at a very high level. You and your staff have done a great job on both sides of the football and in the kicking game. And I know you guys are definitely working on getting better and finishing the season strong. But congrats on the 4-game winning streak, the 4-1 start in the first half of the season, and being the ESPN 97.7 The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Look forward to that game next week at Madison County. But appreciate it, Coach, and continued success. Thank you as always for the time.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you all.
All right, thanks. All right, that was Randolph Raider head coach
David Lloyd.
Yeah, looking right at it. Joining us now. We got a lot of teams this week in high school football that'll be off. So there's a lot of teams that played in that week 0.
A lot of them like to set that up in two halves, where they play 5 games and they play 5 more. Some take it early. Westminster did. They took it in week 1 after week 0.
Yeah.
But in some, Madison Academy took it earlier. But a lot of people like to break it up into halves.
If that schedule works out, this is where they do. So this week coming up around the area, you're going to see a lot of non-region contests because of that. Pretty much everybody is out of region play this week, so we're going to see a lot of non-region matchups. We don't have as many games this week with a lot of teams on the bye, but we'll still have a North Alabama high school football scoreboard show coming your way on Friday and plenty of high school football. So download our app today so you can have the power of 97.7 ESPN The Zone in the palm of your hand. We got to get a break in. When we come back, South Carolina, wait till you hear a podcast from a current player. We'll let you be the decision maker.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a new wreck in Limestone County, 72 in McCulley Mill. Apparently that one's a vehicle that hit a tree there. Sounds like a serious injury involved. And we had a medical call westbound on 565 at Wall Triana. Himsey may be on the scene of that one already. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-99-BET-US and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Coach, how's this year's lineup looking? It's looking great. We got a lot of MVVs and they are looking outstanding. Next.
Yes, what about trades?
Ma'am, you know University Kia always gives up to $5,000 of a KBB trade-in value. Right now, get up to $5,000 over Kelly Blue Book fair market value for any trade at University Kia. New 2022 Kia K5s are just $199 per month. Plus, we want to buy your car. Scan the QR code to see what your car's worth. Only at University Kia.
Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of all things football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
Catch the Tide every Saturday. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Listen to Alabama football on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. It is Talking Ball on a Wednesday morning. Welcome back to the show. We'll be with you until 9 o'clock, as always. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the fun, the program this morning. And that's right where we go out of break. Pat from Tuscaloosa with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Pat.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning, fellas. Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Okay, good deal. But we're 5 hours away, Drew. are the good guys going to get really good a feeling about 12:30 Central Time today when Jalen Hale announces?
Yeah, he's Longview, Texas wide receiver, probably a 5-star talent. It's been an interesting last week or so in that deal. I know Texas felt really good a few weeks ago before he visited Alabama officially for the opener against Utah State. Then Alabama felt like they made a big push. He went to Texas on his official the next week to watch Alabama beat the Longhorns in that classic game, 20-19. Then he visited Texas A&M this past weekend for that snooze fest, 17-9 win in the NIL Bowl over the Ruiz Hurricanes. Doesn't look like that Texas A&M or Georgia, who was his other finalist, are really big factors. It's going to be Alabama and Texas. I heard some Alabama buzz, going into the weekend. Then it seemed that Texas had some buzz on Monday into Tuesday, but then late last night started hearing some more Alabama. And so I was at a speaking engagement yesterday and basically told the audience that I'll be honest with you, this one's a toss-up. There's a lot of information and confidence on both sides. I said if you had to ask me at that time, at that hour, I said it would probably be Texas, but Alabama's still very much in it. And then right after the speaking engagement, I got some more information. And as of right now, and it's held till this morning, Holman Wiggins has done a great job with this kid. I believe Alabama is going to get his commitment in about 5 hours around 1 p.m. Central. Certainly we're going to talk about it on the Recruiting Blitz a little bit later today on the Blitz Sports Radio, Pat. But I think Alabama's in strong position to get Jalen Hale. I think he would be the final piece of the wide receiver puzzle. You've got Malik Benson from Hudson Community College, the best junior college prospect in the country. And then you've got Cole Adams from Oklahoma, the slot receiver, outstanding player, coming back from a shoulder injury. But I think the third piece would be Hale. And, I talked to with Coach Joe Willis on the Blitz yesterday. We were talking about you were talking about Jordan Renaud, his player at Tyler Legacy, but he just coached against Hale. Said he's a legit 6'2", very explosive. Needs some some work on his route running and to refine that, but has the length, has the size, has the speed. Definitely, he sounds like a Devontae Smith type to me. Don't want to put too much pressure on him, but he's very talented, and I think he would be the perfect cherry on top in the wide receiver class. He would give Alabama their third and final piece. They would continue with the number one class in the country and would be at 23 commitments, and I think with room for 5 to 6 more, with a big-time emphasis on getting 3 more defensive linemen. But I will say this to backtrack too, the addition of Jordan Renaud has been massive. I think he's a high-character, 5-star talent himself. They lost 69-0 to that Longview team, Pat, but I had someone that was at the game, Joseph Hastings, who joined us on the Recruiting Blitz, and he told me that he's been on the road every week this high school football season, and Jordan Renaud is the best player that he's evaluated in person. Said he had several tackles and a sack, never let the scoreboard affect his effort, and that sounds like a perfect Nick Saban-type football player. And I'm very excited for him to be added to the Alabama class, very excited for the potential to add Jalen Hale, and I think right now you got to give Alabama's coaching staff a lot of credit in this NIL era. There's a lot of things that make it even more difficult in recruiting, but Alabama looking very strong right now and has a good shot to be number one overall when it all is said and done, though Ohio State's got a lot to say. Keon Keeley's going to visit there for the Wisconsin game again this weekend. I think Alabama's still in strong shape there, though. And then, of course, you've got Georgia, who's an outstanding football team, still got some cards to play, and even Texas A&M. I know they're not highly ranked, but we know, in this NIL era, they in Texas have been very aggressive. So, but I think Alabama's got an above-average shot to get Jalen Hale later this afternoon.
Gotcha. That's good information because I've been extremely worried that Coach Saban, the GOAT, is going to have to make a tremendous push for Kamani McLean in order to counteract Jalen Hale at Texas. I'd be awful.
Well, I mean, McLean is probably the number one corner on the board. I've been hearing that Florida made a big push for him. Now, But Billy's team has not played well the last couple of weeks. They took a loss to Kentucky at home. We're very fortunate to escape against USF. I think that's more of, Scott and I have talked about it this week, just the roster situation that Billy inherited. I still think he's recruiting at a high level. I'm really anxious to see how they compete against Tennessee, because Tennessee is a significant favorite for the first time in a long time. We know that Florida's been the boogeyman, has won 16 out of 17. If Billy could pull this upset, I think it would strengthen their position with McLean. But if they get, blown off the field, which I think could possibly happen depending on the defensive adjustments they make, then Alabama could make another big push for Kermani McLean if it looks like Florida is in a big rebuild. So we'll see. It's going to probably come down to how T-Rob can continue to develop that relationship, how Alabama's secondary continues to play, and it's played well thus far, and how Florida, what kind of year they have. If Florida can get to a bowl game, maybe tough, but then if that happens, I would look at a Malik Muhammad who's committed to Texas, but Alabama keeps pushing for him. And I do think Alabama, the thing about Nick Saban, and the best way for me to put it is we know that the Sunterrain Perkins, the best prospect in Mississippi, Ole Miss thinks they've basically firmed that up. But then Nick Saban goes out and finds in Smyrna, Tennessee, he's committed to Memphis right now, but Arion Carter, an outstanding athlete in the same mold as Sunterrain Perkins, is somebody that I think Alabama's zeroing in on because they'd like to add 2 more linebackers, an Arion Carter and then potentially a Quay Russaw. So Alabama setting themselves up for potentially a strong finish, Pat.
Gotcha. Because I'm just looking at that if we add Kamani to this defensive backfield, it will definitely be the best ever as far as on paper goes.
Well, it would be a special group, no doubt.
All right, have a blessed day. Thank you, Drew and Scott. Y'all have a great week.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Pat. Yeah, and you go back to that Tennessee-Florida game. If Florida comes out, and I'm not saying that they did not play with focus against Kentucky.
Right.
But if they played with the same focus they played with Utah, and Anthony Richardson plays at that level that he played against Utah, then Florida stands a chance in this ball game. If Anthony Richardson comes out and plays with the focus and the level that he played against Kentucky, then South Florida, then Tennessee wins this one, I think, going away. It all depends on Anthony Richardson.
It does, but I will say this, a lot of what Kentucky did was a credit to Mark Stoops and that coaching staff. I think they've got a really, veteran group, a lot of coaches. I know they lost John Summerall, but Mark Stoops doesn't get enough credit for the coaches that he's hired and the culture that he's built over there. And, again, he brought his brother Mike, who, of course, was an analyst, as you know, at Alabama for several years and had been at Oklahoma on 2 different occasions, been the head coach at Arizona. But Mike has been brought in to work with that secondary, and his secondaries were always good for the most part of his tenure at Oklahoma, except for near the end of there. He kind of, I guess, sometimes guys go stale a little bit in a place and need a new start. He got one at Alabama. He's helping out Mark Stoops now. So I think that coaching staff at Kentucky on both sides of the ball, especially defensively, is very, very solid.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, going to kick off hour number 2. South Carolina wide receiver Josh Vann had some interesting comments to say on a podcast. We'll let you know if it was right or wrong to say when you hear it next.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That wreck on 72 at McCully Mill in Limestone County is because of a medical problem, so nobody going to the hospital from that one. Westbound 565 at Wall Triana was a medical problem. Hemsey was handling that one. And we had reports of fog this morning in several areas. If you got a long way to go, that could be a problem. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Another hot and sunny afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s. Temperatures only drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. A mostly sunny sky for your Thursday afternoon. Maybe a slight increase in cloud cover through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. But it doesn't look like we're going to see any rain. That increase in cloud cover is going to come with a cold front that's going to move through the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, with that, we say welcome back to Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you for another 60 minutes. 256-576-4977. That's how you can dial in on the program and comment on things. Hour 1, we talked about TJ Finley being out of the lineup against Missouri with a shoulder injury. What does that do for the Tigers going forward? Robbie Ashford, Zach Calzada. Thoughts on the quarterback play for Auburn and just how much it might set that offense back. 256-576-4977. One of the things that caught my eye yesterday, Drew, was this. South Carolina wide receiver Josh Vann hopped on a podcast, okay? And this just came to light yesterday, but the podcast was recorded after their loss to Arkansas, okay?
44-30, yeah.
Listen to Josh Vann.
I know it was one time, not to bash a coaching, coaching them like that, but, it was like third down, and we called a play that we haven't went over in like 3 weeks. So, mind you, as a player, you got to know the whole playbook. So whenever something may get thrown on you, you can know what it is and you go out there and execute, line up fast. But at the same time, we haven't went over it. So you can't expect, in the heat of a moment, for somebody to like recognize on the fly to know what to do. So, it was just little simple mistakes from players and coaches. But like you said, Arkansas is behind us.
Basically calling out offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield and his play calling in that loss to Arkansas. Now, Van did go on the record and say that, he wasn't calling out any of the coaches.
But he was.
Yeah, but he went on to say
he
said he was wrong for putting it out there. He said it's our jobs as players to know what the situation is, but he said everyone always is trying to be negative. But he also said, though, it's our job as players to know, no matter what the situation is, we're falling back on training and studying what everyone has. But he didn't also say he apologized to the coaches for calling them out, though, at the same time either.
Well, I mean, and as we said, he didn't call out the OC by name, but he basically did say, he aired some dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Because he went a little bit too far in talking about the specifics of what happened, like we hadn't practiced that play in about 3 weeks. That's too much. And that's why in this NIL era, you have to be careful.
Yeah,
the Tom Abraham Show features John Samuel Shanker from Auburn, one of their team captains, every week.
Right.
And, he comes on the program. And so you're seeing a lot of that. We've seen Bryce Young do it. We've seen Will Anderson do it. We've seen players get a chance to come on shows each and every week and speak. And this is, again, more one-on-one time. Like, we've already seen this week with Trayshawn Holden spoke to the Alabama beat writers. We've seen Will Anderson do that, and they have guys that get a chance to DJ Dale speak to the media, the group of reporters. But these one-on-one interviews are something that's new. It's a lot of times part of that NIL era and giving the players a voice and they're being compensated for this. Let's understand that.
Right.
But you have to also handle it a certain way and know that you can't air your dirty laundry like that. Josh Van certainly went too far, and he apologized for it. But again, that's the NIL era that you're having to navigate.
Are we going to hear more of that from college football players? Are we going to hear more of this from – our coach is going to have to now be like, wait a minute.
Well, these players are still going to be coached by the SID offices and the coaching staff,
right,
and being told, hey, just protect the program. Certainly we don't mind you going on and giving your thoughts about a game, but let's be smart about it and protect your team, protect your teammates, keep things in-house, and I think that's what you need to do. And certainly that's an unfortunate mistake by Josh Van. But again, and the reason it's being played out is because South Carolina's been disappointing thus far. They're 1-2. They got a season opening win. Since that time, they have been spanked by Arkansas 44-30 and eviscerated by Georgia at home 48-7. And so there was a lot of expectations and excitement going into this year because of the transfer portal additions. Austin Stogner, the tight end from Oklahoma, certainly Spencer Rattler. But what did I tell you, Scott? I was not sold on the Gamecocks. I like Shane Beamer a lot, but Rattler to me was overrated when he was at Oklahoma. He gets to South Carolina where he doesn't have as good of players around him. We've seen him struggle.
And he's made a lot of those same mistakes that he made at Oklahoma.
And they're magnified at South Carolina.
Throwing to receivers not even wide open. He's literally throwing the ball. Yeah.
But when you're at Oklahoma, you can make some of those mistakes and still win because you're playing in a weak sauce league.
Right.
But at South Carolina, you're playing Georgia. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you give the Georgia.
Then you're going to let Peter Burns tell everybody, just pack it up. Just pack it up. It's over.
Because Georgia's that good.
It's over. Yeah. They're going to beat everybody by 2 and 3 touchdowns. It's over.
Well, we've gone over their schedule yesterday, so, yeah, they just may do that. Kevin is with us this morning on the phone lines. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Morning, sir.
What's on your mind,
my question to you, what's on my mind is this whole Anthony Richardson situation. I keep reading things and posts and comments of he's being told not to run. He's been told that, the quarterback depth is an issue, and they're hindering his talent if that's what he's being told. He's obviously a run-first type quarterback. His ability to run will open up that throw for him, and if he's being told he can't do that, in my mind, that's like telling Tebow, don't run, just throw. Would Tebow have still been Tebow? The answer is no. And I don't see how, as a first-year coach, and you're coming in there telling your best athlete not to do what he's very good at doing, and you lose to Kentucky, and then you look like crap the next week.
Yeah, Billy Napier has
going into Tennessee.
Yeah, Billy Napier has gone on the record and said that the approach to this with Anthony Richardson limiting the runs, limiting all this, Drew, is that it's by design for more than one reason. And so, I mean, whatever the reason is, this is by design that they don't want Anthony Richardson to run.
Well, I wouldn't say they don't want him to run. They want him to be strategic with it. They're going to have some quarterback runs in the offense, but and of course he can improvise. But I think what they're wanting him to do is protect himself due to the Jack Miller situation, him being injured, and they don't have another QB after Miller that's ready to go. And Anthony's a big part of the offense, but I think they're also trying to help him develop as a passer. I think that's another thing. He got hurt a lot last year, so he needed to evolve. And I think he didn't get a ton of time, and when he did, he struggled a little bit. So they're trying to bring him along. I think it was a good mix against Utah State. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not going to really blame. I know he played poorly and threw the ball poorly against Kentucky, but let's just be honest. I mean, we had Freddie Maggard on. Kentucky's just better than Florida this year, okay? That's just bottom line. I'm not going to throw everything on Anthony Richardson. He played awful, okay? But he wasn't the only reason they lost. I mean, they got pushed around in the trenches.
I mean, that's definitely true.
And then in the South Florida game, it wasn't all on Richardson either. He didn't play very well in it. He threw 2 interceptions. But he sure wasn't getting pushed around in the trenches. That defense was not very good. I mean, that's the reason the game was close, because USF was running the football at will. Their quarterback made some nice throws. They got pushed around because the defense doesn't have the proper depth they need. And again, I think if Richardson was on another squad like a Georgia or even a Kentucky that had a better defense behind him, he would be playing at a higher level. Probably because I think they could even overcome some of his mistakes throwing the ball. But I think also sometimes until your guy plays extensively, and let's not misunderstand, this is his first extensive playing time. He's only had 4 starts, so you really weren't sure. The game against Georgia sticks out to me last year because he played so poorly, but that was the best team in the country. But what you're seeing is a little bit of it. Against Utah was fool's gold because while he played well against them, you're playing against SEC opposition that has seen him like Kentucky has. And then I'll be honest, against USF they were flat. I think they thought they were going to come out and win that game. They threw a lot of emotion into the Kentucky game. It's hard to get up for every opponent. So I think when you look at it though, Richardson, you've seen the deficiencies that he has as a passer. That's why I'll be honest, I'm fascinated. This is going to be on Billy and his staff. What kind of game plan and what kind of performance can they get out of him against Tennessee? Can they stay in this game? Because the Vols are very, very hungry to beat the Gators.
Well, my question is, if you look at that Utah game, he ran the ball and ran it very well, and I think that was a huge part of why we won or were in a position to even win the game from the get-go. And then the weeks following, it's like his running went almost obsolete.
Well,
I understand the fear of the quarterback position being, what it is. Jack Miller's going to come back. I hear there's good news coming out of there that he's not far from being healthy enough to come back as the backup. But I kind of feel like if this is your first year as Billy as the coach and you're trying to win all these recruits, because let's face it, in college football, if you're not recruiting good, you're not going to have a long career in the SEC. So, I mean, I think it's a pick your poison situation. Are you willing to just continue to not look good and lose games and potentially get out recruited because of it? Or do you just take the leash off and say, you know what, kid, go out there and go 100, and if we lose, we lose? I feel like playing scared is not a way to play smart college football.
Do you think the play calling, though, Drew, do you think Florida put a lot of time, obviously, because it's the very first game of the year, so they had a lot of time to prepare for Utah. They threw a lot of things at them.
I'll just say this:
you think that play calling those is tremendously different from week 1 to week 2 to week 3?
I give more credit to Kentucky's coaching staff and knowing in Richardson's strengths as a player.
Right.
Watching the film last year when he struggled against Georgia, and I think it's more Kentucky's a really good football team. And then I know that Richardson struggled against, certainly against South Florida, but the whole team did. I think the team was flat. You're going to see what kind of football team, and if Billy Napier still has the attention of this squad and the confidence of it in this next game. Because
I think on defense for the South Florida game, if you look at how many times Florida went out there on offense and just went 3 and out and maybe got one first down.
They certainly didn't help the defense. Complimentary football.
That defense was on the field a lot.
Oh, it was. They got pushed around. So that's going to be the key. They have to find a way to get some stops against Tennessee, to be disruptive. They did score on defense against USF. I mean, they're going to have to be locked in to stay in this game. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to have to be willing to let Anthony Richardson do what he does best, and if they don't, I don't see this going.
I have said that, no doubt. I think Florida has to control this game on the ground. I thought they still ran the football, when they exceptionally well against USF. They averaged over 7 yards per carry. They just, they when they got in the red zone, Richardson had his issues when they allowed him to throw. But I think the tailbacks have looked good. I'm still interested to see how much better this Tennessee defense really is, because they had a lot of issues when Keaton Slovis was healthy in that first half against Pitt. I want to see if Florida can bloody their nose, because to me that's got to be Billy's approach. You have to keep Hendon Hooker in the offense on the sidelines.
I also think that if there's been a lot of comparisons, everybody says Cam Newton or Dak, but I kind of look back to the Tebow kind of thing. He was what made him so great was his ability to run, and because of that threat of his legs, he was able to throw the ball, and he never developed to being a quarterback by no means of the definition of quarterback. And while Anthony Richardson's wanting to become better known as the pocket throwing quarterback, those opportunities will come based off of his legs, and I feel like if you take some legs from him, especially with the problem at receiver in Florida right now, there's not a true number one. Ricky Pearsall is a solid receiver. Well, he's not. I think he's a guy that you can man if you've got good enough CBs and stack the box and say, all right, Anthony Richardson, you're going to have to beat us with the legs, and then we'll go back to adjust the coverages from so on. I appreciate what you guys are saying. I feel like for Florida to win this game, we're going to have to let them run and then open that pass up. And if they don't do that, then I just don't see it going well for us. And that's coming from a Gator fan.
All right. Well, thanks for the phone call, bud. We appreciate that.
Thanks for the
thoughts. Yeah, let's stay there. On there, is it Keith?
Keith's on the line.
With us now. Good morning, Keith.
Yes, sir. Now, this is not what you're talking about, but I kind of wanted to make the listeners kind of know, that we always hear about Nick Saban being cocky and Nick Saban being this, and getting mad. But now, one thing we need to look at is the kind of the heart of the man. I got a good friend of mine that has been invited to his home, and there's a lot of things that Nick Saban does with his heart that I don't think a lot of people know. Number one, he's at church every Sunday at the Catholic church that he goes to, except during away games. He gives thousands of dollars to the Knicks kids, and he gives thousands of dollars to his church. So I kind of want to make sure that not only is he a great coach, but his heart, in my opinion, is right. So I just wanted to make that comment, and that's coming from somebody that goes to church with him and has been in his house eating and taking checks from him to the church on his behalf. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, there's no question that Nick Saban's heavily involved in his church, he and Miss Terry, and that Nick's kids has done a ton. I mean, they've built, I believe, 18 or 19 houses now since the tornado of 2011, part of Nick's kids, and they've raised a ton of money, millions of dollars really, for the Tuscaloosa area and throughout the state of Alabama. They do a lot of charity work, no doubt, and that's Miss Terry's deal too. They complement each other perfectly. Coach Saban's a very process-oriented individual. He's always running his football program, always has his hand deeply in that, but Miss Terry provides the balance. She does a great job getting out in the community and being very active and being very visible. and at the football games as well. She's a great lady. She loves to be involved in collegiate athletics. That's the big reason why he came back from the NFL, because she missed that part. She did not like being not out of basically not being heavily involved in the football aspect in the NFL, because there's really no recruiting. It's more of free agency and draft and things of that nature. You're not relating to players. You're not.
That's funny, because there's some people that love the NFL life where you don't have to worry about the recruiting.
But she loves to be around parents. She loves to relate to kids. She loves to help people, and that's what she's done. And that's why when Coach Saban hangs it up, she's going to have her, a street named after her as well. She's going to have awards named after her. She's going to be beloved in the Tuscaloosa community by so many people because of the impact that they have made on people's lives outside of football, and she's a huge part of that and the balance that Nick Saban has in his life.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's how you can get on the program this morning. One other thing that came out yesterday, and that is let's see here if I can get it. The SEC football schedules for the new year for the 2023 season were released yesterday. And if you are trying to pay attention to it, the Alabama schedule pretty much does look like we thought it would. They do get Texas at home next week or next year for, let's see, I got to pull this up. I had it up here and I had it all ready to go. But they did release all of the schedules. Alabama's schedule pretty much is the same. You do got your games. You got your SEC West games in there. Here's how the next year's schedule does look for Alabama. You got Middle Tennessee to open the year on September 2nd for Alabama. Then September 9th, they have Texas. September 16th, week 3, they will travel to South Florida. And then they have Ole Miss at Mississippi State, home at Arkansas, home against Texas A&M, and then Tennessee, and then LSU at Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn. Drew, they get Texas A&M. This is that quirky thing in the schedule. They get Texas A&M at home in back-to-back seasons.
Well, actually, when I'm looking at the schedule here, Scott, it looks like that game will be at A&M.
Okay, because Alabama's email has it in there
it's
in Bryant
the schedule on the Alabama football Twitter account. You're Middle Tennessee at home, Texas at home to start the season, that rematch. You're right. It's in Tampa at South Florida. They've had a lot of recruiting success down there. They're heading to South USF. That's one of the series they signed a few years ago when Greg Burns started kind of putting this together. Ole Miss will be at home with Lane Kiffin on September the 23rd, and then they will have back-to-back road games at Mississippi State, and then they'll have a bye week. Or excuse me, not a bye week, I'm sorry. They'll be at Texas A&M. I apologize for that. Alabama will actually, when you look at it, their bye week is going to be, I'm trying to see where the bye is included in here. Okay.
October 28th, the week before the LSU game, which is November 4th.
Which is normal, yeah. They're gonna play Tennessee at home and then take that open date against LSU. But, yeah, they're going to be at Mississippi State, at A&M after that 3 of the first 4 being at home. And then they're going to face Arkansas and Tennessee back-to-back at home and then be open, as you said, LSU at home. And then they got a trip to Lexington. They're going back to Kentucky on November the 11th, and that'll be a really interesting matchup because Kentucky and what Mark Stoops has done, they should have a good football team. And then Chattanooga comes in the week before Auburn. Auburn will be at Jordan-Hare Stadium for whoever their new coach is going to be. So we'll see.
Whoever it's going to be. Foregone conclusion?
Well, we're about to have Jake Crane on the show, and I think I have a funny feeling with what I've seen of Jake's takes this week. He's fully expecting a new administration to be in place at Auburn by then.
Well, that would make sense. New president, new athletic director, and a new college football coach. Imagine that. You're interviewing to be Auburn's athletic director, and you know pretty much right away your first hire walking into Auburn will be to hire the football coach that you are putting your name on. I mean, that is, you're getting a fresh start. I mean, that's
new president, new athletic
that's
director.
what I'm saying.
And so I think there's going to be a new administration unless Coach Harsin turns this around quickly.
Yeah,
but the schedule looks very daunting.
Jake Crane will spell it all out for us coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Our last reported accident was 565 eastbound right about Hughes Road. That one came in as a no injury. Winchester near Shields reported with an injury, but the wreck's off in a parking lot. University west of the Parkway also reported as an injury type. Sounds like we did have at least one person go to the hospital from that wreck, 72 in McCully Mill in Limestone County. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm sorry, I can't operate on that vehicle.
But doctor, you took an oath.
That RV, it's my son's RV.
Oh, doctor, isn't there anything you can
I'm not a miracle worker, Sheila. I'm an RV surgeon, trained to save the lives of large injured recreational vehicles, which is definitely a real profession.
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com. Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. All right, I see this popping up on social media in some places, and people are commenting on the Auburn situation all over the place.
Right.
And the one thing, though, that I'm hearing is I'm seeing it's almost like two sides of the fences. You got one side that says, oh, my goodness, Hugh Freeze, Deion Sanders, X, Y, and Z, they should be the next Auburn head coach. And then you got people on the other side of the fence saying, hold on a minute. There's not a job opening at Auburn. Brian Harsin right now is the current coach. There's not a job opening at Auburn. I mean, that's a fact. Right now, there is no job opening. The question is, are we 100% sure that there's going to be a job opening at Auburn in the future? Like, I mean, when I say yes, in the future, there will be. But, and I mean the immediate future, will there be a job opening at Auburn?
Well, I'm 99% sure there will be. And our next guest, I think, is going to be in agreement with me. From 6:30 to 8 Central Time, Monday through Friday. One of the fastest growing shows in the country, part of the Real Daily Wire. It's Crane and Company, and the co-host of that great show, Jake Crane, he joins us weekly to talk college football. Has been good enough to join us this morning. Jake, I've seen some of your opinions on YouTube and on social media. I know right now you interviewed Brian Harsin. You've been very close to that program. I think he's a dead man walking. I think you can cue up the doors. What are your thoughts after that performance Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we're waiting now is the house to fall on, and to use the Wizard of Oz reference. You guys know me. I don't approach this thing with any bias. I was in the business for 9 years, and kind of once you see how the sausage is made, kind of takes a little bit of the lust away, but I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I've been reached out to by a ton of former Auburn players, including All-Americans, the guys that are in the Hall of Fame at Auburn. And what the display that was on Saturday was the worst display I've ever seen in Jordan-Hare.
That's saying a lot.
Beyond embarrassing. It was beyond embarrassing. Brian Harsin has gotten out-coached every halftime at Auburn since he's been here. You look last year. One of the reasons they fell off a cliff late in the game is because he can't make adjustments. His coaches don't make adjustments, or he doesn't allow them to make adjustments. The players aren't very good. You didn't get any offensive linemen in the transfer portal. It's the worst offensive line I've ever seen. You got Zach Calzada out of the portal as a quarterback, and when you had Keaton Slovis and Michael Penix Jr. and J.T. Daniels and Max Johnson and all these guys that could have helped you out, you got Zach Calzada, who can't beat out T.J. Finley and Robbie Ashford. And Robbie Ashford, is an Eddie Grand special offensively. The dude can't throw. T.J. Finley makes more mistakes than me in chemistry class. And it was a lack of effort. You were getting out formation. You got out-coached. You got outplayed. I don't think he can do it. I think if he loses to Missouri, I don't think he makes it to the podium. But what happened in Jordan-Hare at a place like Auburn? Because, look, I've seen Auburn lose. I've seen Auburn blow games. I've seen Gus Malzahn make terrible decisions, but I have never seen in Jordan-Hare what I saw. And excuse my language, but they need to get Brian Harsin's ass out of Auburn as soon as possible. All his family does is complain about the pressure at Auburn. It's been a disaster from the jump. They just need to cut ties. He can't do it.
And everybody out there is saying, oh, Alan Green, why was Alan Green fired? Oh, Auburn's a terrible place. Alan Green made one hire pretty much that really mattered, and that was Brian Harsin. It was a failure. He didn't hire Bruce Pearl. He didn't hire Butch Jones, and he interviewed for 6 different AD jobs and didn't get one of them while he was at Auburn. So save me the crocodile tears for Alan Green and Brian Harsin. Auburn needs to make the decision, how bad do you want to win? How bad do you want to win? Because Bruce Pearl had some baggage coming to Auburn,
yes.
But now he could run for mayor and get 100% of the vote. You go get Hugh Freeze, he wins 8-9 games his first year at Auburn, and they actually look competent, that you will not hear a word about the past outside of Pete Thamel and Pat Forty.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We're talking to Jake Crane, Crane & Company, on the Real Daily Wire, 6:30 to 8 Central Time. I completely agree there. I just think he's a bad fit. I just think it, and that's the reason Alan Green's not here now. I mean, he did not make the hire that was needed for Auburn at the time. I was like everyone else. I thought Auburn would play with passion. I thought the crowd would be great, and the crowd was crazy. The Auburn fan base turned out. I thought it would be a close, tight game. Even at halftime, it was 14-6. They were still in the game, but it's what you just said. The halftime adjustments. It's why they lost the Iron Bowl last year. It's why they didn't finish the last 5 games. They lost most of them in the second half.
State last year, Drew.
Oh yeah, they were up 28-6. Yeah. I mean that was the real turning point. That's a great observation there, Jake, because that game really signaled the end for Brian Harsin, because you can't blow a 28-6 lead.
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel bad for the fans. I feel bad for the people, especially in this economy, that paid hard-earned money to go to Auburn to watch that absolute embarrassment. Everybody associated with that program should be embarrassed to the fullest for the product that was put on. That was not Auburn. And I'm actually embarrassed for the Penn State fans that had to think that's what Auburn football is. That's not even close to what Auburn football is. It's an absolute embarrassment, and they should be ashamed of themselves, because it's one thing to lose. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose with no effort, to quit. That Auburn team quit. And look, at some point, this was going to happen eventually. Look at Auburn's recruiting right now. And You know what? 2 things can be true at once, right? The Auburn booster situation is a disaster. But maybe, guys, it took Alabama hitting rock bottom for them to say, you know what? The power brokers, move aside. We've got to bring in a guy and let him do it. Maybe this is Auburn's inflection point that we've all been waiting for. But who knows? That's what that is the silver lining, I think, in all of this. Go make a run at Hugh. Go make a run at Urban. Go make a run at somebody, because there's only a few people that can fix this mess, and Marty Huggins isn't one of them.
Yeah. Well, last year when Derek Mason took off, they made the change of offensive coordinator. I think, and how everything played out at the end of the year, everybody gave Brian Harsin maybe just it felt sorry for him because of everything that happened. Now I think we understand that Derek Mason left not because of, whatever, and Oklahoma State being just that much of a better job. He just wanted out because maybe
he saw the writing on the wall.
And that Brian Harsin fit was not a fit.
Yeah, and then Josh Pate made a great point about Austin Davis. Austin Davis leaving as OC, Jake, within 2 weeks.
Yeah, but Derek Mason, fill in there.
Yeah. Well, the Austin Davis and Derek Mason situation is different. Austin Davis had a legitimate off-the-field problem.
Okay, gotcha.
He had to get cleaned up. That wasn't a coaching thing. Anybody that's connected to the program knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it seems like he has cleaned up, and I'm really excited for him.
Good.
We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. But that had nothing to do with any writing on the wall. That's incorrect. The Derek Mason thing, there was problems with Derek Mason and Brian Harsin from the beginning. But what a lot of people don't know, there were problems with Brian Harsin and Mike Bobo, too. Mike Bobo would come up with things, and Brian Harsin would go in there and change them a couple days before the game. You can't do that, especially with a guy like Mike Bobo, who's been around. You got to have somebody that understands how to compete at this level. At Boise State, the way you recruited, you weren't signing top 15 classes. Kids in that area were wanting to go to Boise State. You didn't have to go fight for every single recruit. That's not how it worked there. It's totally different at a place like Auburn. So a lot of guys saw the writing on the wall in the coaching community. This has been seen from a mile away. I mean, hell, you didn't even want to have a junior day. They had to talk you into having a junior day. So, again, look, some guys are house cats. They need their milk brought to them. They can't go out in the jungle and get it. And Brian Harsin is a house cat.
Yeah.
So, obviously, okay, so they come out and they play somewhat better against Missouri, and they get a 10-point win. Does it mean anything?
No, because of what's going to happen after that. Look at the back half of the schedule. That roster is so bad. Unless you know magic or you have a relationship with Albus Dumbledore or Gandalf, you can't fix it.
No, I completely agree, Jake. And I cringe to see how ugly the Georgia game is going to be.
Oh, my God. It's going to be rated NC-17. Like, if you have small kids, don't let them watch that game. It's going to be so bad. I'm telling you, wait till you see what happens at Mississippi State. Mississippi State may beat Auburn by 30.
Oh, wow.
It could be that. It's going to be bad. Just you go 2 Ole Miss, 2 Mississippi State, 2 Georgia, 2 Bama. You get Arkansas at home. It's not going to be good. Let's just put it that way.
Is this as bad as it was for Arkansas with Chad Morris?
I mean, that was as bad as it gets. I mean, yeah, they may beat Missouri. Like, I'm looking at the schedule. Missouri's the most winnable game outside of the cupcake at the end. I mean, you're looking at Auburn right now. This could be another 3-win Auburn team.
Oh.
It legitimately could. Because that Missouri team, while they're not a good team, they're better than they were last year on defense. And Brady Cook can do some things at quarterback. And right now, if you're an Auburn player, you know what's going to happen, especially the older guys. If they fired Gus Malzahn for what he did, they're going to banish Brian Harsin from the city limits forever. So what motivation really is there? Because you know you're bad. Deep down, you know you're bad. You can fool a lot of people. You can't fool the players. They always know. So it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But even though you don't have an AD, if they lose to Missouri, you got to fire them. You got to fire them, name somebody to interim, find an AD, and go hire a new coach that can do it.
And then finally, before we get your opinion on a couple other games, I know you mentioned him early. Would be my favorite. Is Hugh Freeze at the top of the list?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, look, the guy beat Bama twice and beat him once with Bo Wallace. I mean, you had me at hello, to quote, Jerry Maguire. I think he's on the list. I think you make a run at Urban because, look, we all know how competitive these guys are, right? And you'll have pie-in-the-sky names. You'll hear like John Gruden or something like that. But with Urban Meyer, his last coaching stop was a failure in Jacksonville. They let him back on the set at Fox. All he's hearing about is Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and Ryan Day and Dabo Sweeney. How long? Ohio State's not opening up anytime soon. Okay, Florida just hired a new coach. They're not going to have you back at those places anyway. USC just hired Lincoln Riley. What's the closest place you can get to compete against the guys you judge yourself against? And that's at Auburn. Now, for Urban Meyer to come, it's a little bit different than Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze wants in. Hugh Freeze wants in with strings attached. He went from being the star of a Broadway musical to hosting a local theater group. He wants back in the big stage. So it's a little bit different than Urban and Hugh. But if you're Auburn, you've got to decide how bad do you want to win. How bad do you want to win? Because every day that Brian Harsin is there, you get further away from Alabama and Georgia.
Well, and Jake, finally, that's some strong thoughts there, and I think we're in lockstep with that. But I wanted to ask you about a couple of games really fast. What are you thinking? This doesn't look good for the Gators in Knoxville. What are your thoughts on Tennessee, Florida?
Well, I opened the show this morning. Tennessee, to me, when I look at them, they're not hoping to win anymore. They have a roster. They have depth, especially up front, where they expect to win. If Florida does not let Anthony Richardson run the ball more, they are not going to have success on offense. You got away with it against Utah. You didn't get away with it against Kentucky. And Kentucky's not this unbelievable team people think they are. They're a solid team that doesn't really lose the game, even though they tried to on special teams against Florida. They let Florida lose the game. I think Tennessee wins by double digits. This 3-game stretch for Tennessee is huge. You have Florida at home, you go to LSU, and then you have Bama at home. If you can go 2-1 in those 3 games, you are setting yourself up to have a pretty big season.
You are.
Is Georgia as good as they were last year?
Better. They're better. You want to know why? Because they're more balanced. You know what's scarier than one elite side of the ball? 2 really good bordering elite sides of the ball. Last year, Georgia could only beat you a couple ways. They'd play it safe on offense, not turn the ball over, suffocate you on defense, and just let gravity take place throughout 4 quarters, because once you got down a touchdown or more to Georgia, you're screwed anyway. This year, the offense is more open. DeQuavius Bennett is doing his thing. There's no pressure on him now. He already won the national championship as a quarterback. You've got an unbelievable tight end room. Your wide receiver room isn't a triage tent with injuries, and you're still really good on defense. I would much rather, at least from what I've seen up to this point, play last year's Georgia team than this year's Georgia team.
And then finally, I think I know who you like in this game, but Jerry World, Arkansas, Texas A&M, do you like the Razorbacks?
You know, I do. I like Arkansas, but I feel like this game's going to be pretty high scoring, actually. I feel like this is a game that could maybe go into 2 to 3 overtimes. Arkansas secondary is one of the worst in the country right now. They did lose Jalen Catalon for the year at safety, which is big. So A&M needs that. They made the adjustment to Max Johnson, something we've talked about on this show since the offseason was a matter of when, not if, in my opinion. So I think Texas A&M will be a little more explosive. KJ Jefferson's going to have to be the guy on offense. We know that, running the ball and throwing the ball. Rocket Sanders is an absolute stud. I love their tight end room as well. I think this game's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be close, but I think Sam Pittman and Arkansas will find a way.
Well, great stuff. Crane and Company, 6:30 to 8 Central Time, Monday through Friday on the Real Daily Wire. Follow him on Twitter, @JakeCrane_. Always appreciate the time. Enjoy the weekend of college football. Great opinions. We always enjoy the conversation.
Definitely, guys. Appreciate y'all having me, and enjoy the weekend.
All right, thanks. Jake Crane with us.
Some strong opinions on Auburn.
Strong. Wow.
I think he had some of my coffee.
Wow.
And I don't even drink it.
We'll dissect everything when we return. Your tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Our last reported accident was 565 eastbound right about Hughes Road. That one came in as a no injury. Winchester near Shields reported with an injury, but the wreck's off in a parking lot. University west of the Parkway also reported as an injury type. Sounds like we did have at least one person go to the hospital from that wreck, 72 in McCully Mill in Limestone County. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
If you're anything like me, you're ready to say goodbye budget stress and hello fall style. That's why I went to Kohl's, where I not only got an extra 15% off, I also got styles from Sonoma Goods for Life for under $9, clothes for my husband from Apartment 9 at just over $10, and boots for less than $43. Or you can save more with a Kohl's card. So if you want more style and more savings, you know where to go. Select styles, 15% offer on September 25th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Waiting was such a mistake. That's one of the things we hear most after we've successfully treated one of our patients for erectile dysfunction. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we want you to know first and foremost that waiting is a mistake, because the longer you wait, the more difficult it can be to treat your ED. Using what you've got is important, not just for your relationship, but for your overall health. There's some truth to the phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we'll fight for your ability to consistently perform without the anxiety that so many men experience. In fact, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. We only treat ED and low T at the Huntsville Men's Clinic, and we've successfully treated many men with protocols that are effective in nearly 90% of cases. We also have the full complement of treatments, including acoustic wave therapy, so you get the one that works best for you. So don't wait. Make an appointment. For just $99, you'll get a medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. Call today, 256-368-0333. That's 256-368-0333, or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Do you know that your car or truck or SUV may be worth up to 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and now is the perfect time to trade in, trade up to a gold certified or blue certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. While our new vehicle inventory continues to build back, our Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles are nearing 100 models to choose from, and a good variety too. Woody Anderson Ford Gold certified vehicles are 6 years or younger with less than 80,000 miles and have passed 172-point inspection by factory certified technicians. They have a 14-day, 1,000-mile money-back guarantee, a great comprehensive limited warranty, 24-hour roadside assistance, and go home with full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Get nearly a new ride and none of the worries. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan Spartman. Hope to see you soon.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back, Talking Ball. Your tomorrow's headlines today, and we're going to get to a couple of those headlines. But I got to thinking of something Jake Crane said in that last interview. He threw out two big names for a potential replacement for Brian Harsin. He threw out Urban Meyer and Hugh Freeze.
Right.
If you are an Auburn Tiger fan, would you rather have Urban Meyer or Hugh Freeze? If those were your two choices and you were the one picking, Would you want a Meyer or a Freeze?
I think Freeze is a better fit. I think he'll be hungrier. I know he said Urban may want to prove himself, but Urban has not been able to sustain programs. He's done a great job winning 3 national titles, but he's burnt out both at Florida and at Ohio State. I don't think he would want to lock up with Nick Saban on a day-to-day basis. I think Saban drove him out of the league at Georgia. Hugh Freeze would love to. He took on the challenge at Ole Miss, which is not the program that Florida is, or Ohio State. He was able to have success. Yeah, we understand the NCAA issues and his personal issues, but if you look at the product on the field and the way he coached, I think he coaches with no fear. His teams are very offensively explosive and physical. And so to me, and it's almost like the Bruce Pearl situation. Bruce Pearl was hungry to get back into major college basketball. He had to get rid of the show cause and his issues, and Auburn threw him the lifeline. It's the same situation with Hugh Freeze, and I think Hugh Freeze would take that job in a second. One of his daughters went to Auburn, so he understands the school. He understands the SEC, and I just think he's still young enough and hungry enough. To me, he would be a better fit than Urban Meyer. Urban would be, if Urban got back in it, honestly, he would be a better fit at somewhere like Nebraska, where he was trying, because he's very familiar with the Big Ten, and I know Nebraska's already reached out to him.
That's where I'm going next. Bruce Feldman has just put out about 45 minutes ago Nebraska's head coaching short list per him. It's Alabama's Bill O'Brien,
I heard
Kansas head coach Lance Leopold, Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell are all on Nebraska's head coaching short list.
And I think all 3 of those guys would be good fits, especially Leopold. I mean, what he's done at Kansas, and this is not basketball, I mean, it's pretty amazing. He's winning football games for the first time. I mean, the last time they had a season that was a special was Charlie Weiss had 1 year, which was good. But when they were consistent was Glenn Mason. And what he did, and
Mark Mangino got him to a top 5 bowl, did he not? One time?
Yeah, well, I think that's who. I got to correct myself. I think Mangino was the one that got him to that BC or the Big Six type bowl game.
Right.
It was not. Actually, Weiss was an abject disaster. It was that one time. Mangino, he had a keep to leave. They actually did have one good year, but Glenn Mason had some consistent success before he went to Minnesota.
Braves get a win. Mets get a win.
Playoffs.